Welcome. Today we're talking with Diane Weaver. Since December 2021, she has been the president of the Virginia National Bank. Diane, thank you and welcome to today's Banker Digest.
Good morning, Larry. Thanks so much for having us aboard. We appreciate the time.
Great. Well, Diane, you've been on board now with the Virginia National Bank for about 4 months. What is the backstory on why Virginia National Bank brought on a new president?
Well, there are a number of things, and just a little bit of background about the organization. Virginia National Bank is an OCC chartered organization. Corporate headquarters are out of Charlottesville, Virginia. Very solid financial institution, and part of their growth plan was over the course of the last couple of years was to find culturally similar institution and either through a merger of equals or an acquisition move forward in terms of asset growth and legal lending limits so they could move into additional markets. In March of last year, the bank entered into an agreement of an acquisition merger of equals with Fauquier Bank. As such, their legal lending limit almost doubled in size. Our legal lending limit is $22 million now as a community bank, $2 billion in assets. Legal lending limit in-house is approximately 18 million. And what that does is it creates an opportunity for us to move forward up into the Northern Virginia market, expansion into Richmond and throughout the jurisdiction here. So it was a well thought out plan. We are now a year past legal day one. And my coming aboard was part of the planned growth moving forward. The prior president CEO, who still remains CEO, Glenn Rust, was in a dual role. And so what we've done is we've bifurcated those roles. We have two at the executive level, along with our executive team. And Glenn will be able to continue in the CEO role, but will be able to, over a period of time, as the dust settles with what you would expect with a new president coming on board, but he'll be able to focus on the other departments and divisions that we have within the organization. We have a trust and investment services group. And so he'll be able to focus on that and capital raise when the time is right and necessary as a result of our growth.
Great. Well, thank you. Well thought out strategy. So Diane, in today's market, there are a number of challenges for bankers. What do you see as the most important challenges for banks as they work to support small and medium-sized business customers?
Well, 2019, 2020, and 2021, certainly with COVID, was unique for everyone. Who would have thought that would have happened, and everyone, including the banking industry, would have had to change their business model and their plan. Businesses, banks focused on retail infrastructure and location for a number of years. COVID did for banks what banks in many cases could not do for themselves, and that's what it drove the retail operations and activity out of the branches and onto online access. So more and more. But what it's done is it's created opportunity for some consolidations. Banks are diverting what had traditionally been branch infrastructure and core, brick and mortar growth into, you have to redeploy that capital. You've got to deploy it into technology. You've got to deploy it into products, and you certainly have to deploy it into staff to be able to go through that shift. I would say if I had to consider the three most critical parts right now for banking, it is efficiency, it is talent, it is a rising interest rate environment, and how you plan and strategize for it, how you price, how you structure your transactions, and how you continue to do so and make sound decisions on your loan structures and your credit quality as you move forward. Pricing is going to be critical. We just saw our first rate hike last week, 1/4 point. We expect to see, probably in May, another 1/2 point. There's a lot of, there are a lot of moving balls with that. When you have fixed rate assets on your books in a rising interest rate environment, it's sometimes problematic. So credit quality is always first and foremost, but acquiring the right talent is always critical too. And human capital in particular, given COVID and opportunity for remote learning and remote training and remote balanced workplaces is quite unique right now. We're very blessed that over the course of the last 30 days, we've started to bring on really terrific people in market. And so we're very excited for that reason.
Great. Well, thank you, Diane.
Certainly.
So that strong executive leadership team in place, As the bank's president, what are your areas of focus?
Well, first and foremost, it's shareholder return, it's client satisfaction, it's doing what we need to do for the client, being a sounding board for them, understanding the nuances between their business pre-COVID, what COVID impact was to them, and what they're doing on a go-forward basis. We have a very strong executive team here. It's not new, it's not unique, but I will share with you, between our Chief Credit Officer, who's a woman who's been here a very long time. Gina is incredibly bright. We have Tara Harrison, who's our CFO, who has been here for a very long time. We have Donna Shoemaker, who's our in-house legal counsel. It's quite impressive. It is a unique situation whereby we've got a community bank that the executive management team is predominantly women, and it's not a new occurrence. It's a legacy. These women have been with the bank 10, 15, 20, 22 years, and they're remarkable. And it's not often discussed. It's certainly not common knowledge. And they were a critical part of this process for me to come on board. So my focus is not only the return to the shareholders, it's about understanding and making sure that the bank moving forward, as we wrap up this consolidation of two cultures, two organizations, two different governing bodies, as we wrap that up and we move forward, it's about asset quality and shareholder return.
Great. What are you doing? I think before we had talked about, training to build banker acumen. Is that something that you're working on? We
are, and that will continue. It is not unique to Virginia National Bank. It's not really unique in the banking industry, but when you have, whether it's an acquisition or a merger of equals, you have two cultures. You may have two governing bodies. You may have two different business models. So when I talked originally with you about, this business acumen and getting everybody moving in the same direction and having the same corporate philosophy, that is an ongoing situation for any bank who is acquired or merged. As we bring new employees on, there will be an opportunity, because historically we'd been a smaller community bank. As we move north, not only physically up from the Charlottesville market up through Prince William County, Fairfax County, Washington, D.C., and Maryland, in addition to moving north physically, we're going to move north in terms of our opportunity to do transactions, transaction size, the market that we're going to support. So you will see an additional enhancement to the credit culture and the skill set of some of the lenders that are coming on board. And those people, partnered with our existing staff, will be phenomenal. And I'm quite impressed with those that are coming on board with us and the team that's here. Look, every day is a new day, and every day in commercial banking you learn. If you don't, you've become stale, because no two transactions are alike. No two clients are alike. You have to be able to be responsive. You have to be able to understand what your clients' needs are, and you have to provide solutions. And that's not unique to the industry. That really is what it should be.
Right. It's a great point you make about the transactions being different. Every situation particularly in a business environment is different and unique, and having that strong team to work with the customers on that is so great. So Diane, thank you for sharing your perspectives on the challenges and opportunities for bankers today.
Certainly, I appreciate the time, and I wish you well, and happy 2022.
Thank you, you too. And in closing, thank you for joining today's Banker Digest. If you have
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Great, and if you have additional questions for Diane, please see the link in her bio.